everyone, welcome back to my channel. I was super happy that I had a lot of new subscribers last month, and the amount of support and love that you guys showed was just amazing, so thank you. Moving on, let's talk about the things that I made in the month of March. I actually didn't make that much in the month of March because my machine was in the shop for about a week getting its yearly checkup. The first place I took it to said it was going to take 6 weeks, and the idea of not having my sewing machine for 6 weeks was just painful to me. So nevertheless, I didn't take it there. I went somewhere else, and they were able to get it in within a couple of days. So that was a week without sewing. Then the following week, I had like an emergency work trip to Chicago, so that was another week without sewing. So really my March was only 2 weeks long when it came to sewing, so I didn't get a whole lot done. The first thing I want to show you is just this shirt I'm wearing. I can't remember the pattern number, so I will put it in the description below. There's not much to say about it. It's a pattern I've made before. It's a fabric I've used before, just a different colorway. It was extremely difficult to cut out, and so this arm seems a little bit tight, but the other one seems fine, and I think that was just a problem with that. It's like a rayon material, so it has a really nice drape and it feels really nice. It's just kind of difficult to sew with. But I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. It's very comfortable. I knew it would be, and so I've been wearing it a lot. The other thing I started working on were my ginger jeans. The first pair I made was this. It's just sort of like a stretch denim, and I used this really lovely calico cotton that I got from Joann's, and that's in the pocket stays, the waist, and then in the inside pocket as well. I used some aqua serger thread in here just for fun, and then I lengthened the cuff by about 4 inches, so that gave me a little bit of a neck. Well, I lengthened the pant leg by 4 inches, but that's because I wanted a really nice wide cuff. And there again, you can see the serger thread on that as well. I used the skinny leg version, the high-waisted skinny, for this pair, and I cut it out in a size 12, but it's a little too big for me. I always have to lengthen stuff, so if it's like lengthening the bodice or lengthening the arms, lengthening the crotch depth. But in this one, I did a muslin, didn't have to lengthen it at all. So, I mean, I cut it as printed for the pattern. The only changes I made were to curve the waistband a little bit more, so in lieu of like a sway back adjustment, and that just gives you, like a tinier waist and bigger hips. But I actually, in retrospect, I wish I had shortened the crotch depth on this, because it just sits a little bit too high for me. Where the button connects right here, it kind of like rubs up against my belly button, and I don't really like how that feels. So these are a bit too big. And so then the next pair I made, I cut out a size 10. So the first one was 12, this one's a 10. And these are a little bit too small, so it's kind of like the Goldilocks effect. These I cut out in a olive green twill, and I used the other view, which has like the stovepipe leg, so a little bit wider leg. But these are low rise, and they're too low for me. So I think that what I would do for my next pair is sort of like an amalgamation of these two pairs. I think I want to do stovepipe leg with the higher waist, but I want to lower this by about 1 inch, because the low rise is just way too low for me. On this one, I was a little bit more adventurous and used a contrasting top stitching, whereas this one I just used like an indigo top stitching because I didn't know how cleanly I could do it. So I used a contrast one on this, and I did some like lines on the pocket that I thought looked really good. And then in this pair, I used sort of like a matte fabric on the interior. I bought 3 yards of this olive twill, and I should have enough left over to make another pair, because it did not take anywhere close to to the 2 yards that the pattern says it uses. I'll probably just throw these away though, because the fit on them is so bad. Just too tight, too low. Oh, cat is done. So, you know, Goldilocks in the jeans. I'm just calling these muslins for now because they're not quite perfect. I did buy some cone mill denim, which is about $16 a yard, and so I really don't want to cut into that denim until I have the fit perfected. So now I'm going to change into my next outfit that I made. Okay, so this is my next outfit, and this entire outfit was made with Simplicity 1070, and I'll try to insert a picture of that pattern here. I'm not sure why I decided I wanted to make this, because it's certainly not the style that I typically sew, but for some reason I got to be in my bonnet about it, and I just had to make it, and you know how that is. So all of the fabrics in this outfit were purchased from fabric.com. I used a Ponte for the jacket and the skirt, and then the top is made with like a, I want to say it's a Telio heathered jersey, and then some faux leather as well on the jacket, and it's like nice sort of like shimmery gray. Tony hates this jacket. He says it looks like very 80s, but I don't think it's too bad. It's just not something I normally would wear. I take the jacket off. So the jacket is unlined, which I'm not a huge fan of, and then it just has facings, which I really hate. I did seam top stitching on either side of all of the seams because I thought it would help it look a lot nicer. I think in retrospect I should have just serged them, because having these flap open is kind of annoying to me. It's a little crop top, which works because it's a high-waisted skirt, and then 3/4 sleeves. There is a band around the neck, and that is it. I think that both the bottom and the sleeves are both just folded up, and I sewed it with like a zigzag stitch. I'm not super confident with knit fabric yet, but the Ponte was super easy to sew with, so I think I would definitely use Ponte again. Not so much on the jersey because it just kept like rolling and it was kind of annoying to work with. The skirt is the same skirt that I used probably back in January to make. I made like a blue and white window pane type skirt. I made a couple of changes this time around. Because it's in a knit fabric, having a zipper in there just seemed absurd to me, so I omitted the zipper completely, just sewed up the center back seam, and then I added like an elasticated waistband instead, just to keep it sort of like tight in with my body, because the first skirt I made had interfaced facings, and it just kind of like, first I made it with a knit interfacing, and that didn't really work. It didn't hold its shape very well, so I put in a woven interfacing, which meant you needed the zipper. The woven interfacing wasn't brilliant either. It kind of just stood away from the body and rolled down. So I think putting in this elasticated waistband worked a lot better. So this dress actually took the bulk of my time this month. It's not quite finished yet. I want to add some like lingerie straps in the sleeve, just because this wide neckline tends to show my bra every now and then. And then I need to put a hook and eye in the back at the top of the zipper, but other than that it's done. I based this off of a Butterick pattern, and it's one of Gertie's patterns. So I can put a picture of that right here. And I used the bodice from MAC, but then I just drafted my own skirt instead. The bodice was really finicky. I've used a couple of her patterns before, and they've been pretty good. But in this one, I had the length in the front, did a sway back and back. This neckline is really low, and this is with me adding an inch to it. So, I mean, if you can imagine what it would look like an inch lower, it's kind of obscene. I don't have a lot going on up front, but I mean, if you had breast, it would be out of control. And then I did a lot of like futzing around with the way that the raglan sleeves were attached as well. I think I took a wedge out of both the front and the back just to get those sleeves a little bit more towards center. And you can see still that like they stay up, but they are pretty far apart. For the skirt, like I said, I drafted my own pencil skirt for this, and I did a pegged pencil skirt. I don't do fitted skirts very often, and now I know why. I guess I just have weird hips, but it took a lot of trial and error to get this to a fit that I would like. I lined the entire dress in a matching sort of like grape Benberg rayon lining, which is super luxurious. I fully lined the dress and I bagged it out. I did a vent in the back of the skirt with the lining included into it. That was pretty difficult, but I was a very proud moment when I finished that. There is some spiral steel boning that is attached to the lining of the dress, so that gives the, there's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 6 sets of spiral steel boning to give you some more structure in the bodice. There is a waist stay to help keep it all up. I think that's it, but as you can tell, this dress had a lot of like little finicky moments, but I'm super happy with how it turned out. So that's everything that I made in the month of March. I'm sorry it's not as industrious as I was in the past, but sometimes life just happens. I hope everyone enjoyed what I had to show this month, and stay tuned for some future videos. This month, in April, I'm planning to do sort of like a tutorial on how I do my lengthening of the bodice and sway back adjustments at the same time. I'm not saying this is the right way to do it, but it's the way I do it, and I thought it would be, we'd kind of like to see how I get things done. And, of course, different things that I'm sewing. So I hope everybody has a safe and happy April. See you next time.